Now, why don't we get into Briana and her braids? Briana DeJesus from the Real Housewives of, now, not the Real Housewives, from Teen Mom, got braids in her hair. I think are these goddess braids or something, like boho braids. She got the boho braids, which I really love. And listen, I think they look great on her. I think it's fun to get to play around with your looks and whatnot. And when I first saw these photos of her with her new hair, so for her, she kind of feels like her hair feels like very flat and sparse because she did get them kind of big. So like there's less of them. So I know why she feels that way, especially if you're so used to your own hair and extensions, kind of like having the volume, right? However, I do think it looks nice on her. And I actually think this is particularly touching because of her daughter, Nova. So Briana's eldest daughter, Nova, has a Black father. His name is Devon or Devoyne. And, she's got like, brown skin, darker skin than everybody else in the family. And her hair is different than Briana's and whatnot. So this was a storyline on the show about how she kind of wanted to have her hair straight to fit in more with her family and with the people at school. And so for her mom to get braids too, because up until now, we've never really seen anybody in her family have braids. I think that this must have been a really special moment for her daughter, Nova. So I love this for Brie, and I love this for Nova as well. So I'm really curious about what you guys think about this particular move. Hey, Jaleesa says the braids look cute on her, actually, don't they? I like them. I think they're cute, and it's always so fun to try out different, hairstyles every once in a while. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. These are freshly done. Again, I do think that it's something that is particularly special. And so to me, I feel like, it's a lot, it's very meaningful. I imagine that it's very, 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 very meaningful. And I agree with you as well, Rasan. The way they handled it is inappropriate. And I do hope that they eventually withdraw the charges and issue a public apology, because that was just so inappropriate on so many levels. And by the way, good morning to Amelia and Ruby as well. Thank y'all so much for joining. We've also got Tadisha over here who says that Briana's braids are cute. I don't understand what the controversy was about in the Shade Room comments. Well, that's the thing that I don't understand either, to be honest with you, because like I just said, I think it sets a really good example and a positive example as well. And it reinforces a certain level of self-esteem in her daughter, Nova. So to me, I think it's only positive, but there is like a certain and I don't want to offend people who fall into this category, but there is a certain category of like Black women or Black girls who are very defensive about braids, right? Like for one reason or another, maybe they were teased for having braids growing up. And so now they feel like, okay, well, I was teased for braids growing up, so nobody else should be able to, or this or that, the other, or something like that. But, to me personally, I think it's fun, for people, of all walks of life or whatever, to be able to experiment with their hair in whatever way they see fit. And I think that, it is unfortunate if you were kind of bullied for having braids when you were younger, but, I would hope that people who went through that would see kind of like how more and more people wearing braids would contribute to less of that happening, because it would be more quote unquote normalized, right? Just saying. That's just my own personal opinion. So shout out to Brie for the braids. Again, especially for the way that they probably made her daughter, Nova, feel. Good morning, A. Nice to see you, boo. Rachel says, I remember that storyline. Nova wanted to straighten her hair so she wouldn't stand out. Exactly, right? And so again, this is what I mean when I say more people should, wear braids or whatever. It's a beautiful hairstyle. And when more people wear them, right, you have less of these instances of people like Nova who feel ostracized or who feel like their self-esteem is taking a hit when they wear braids. So, I'm all for it. Listen, it's not for every hair texture though. That's the truth at the end of the day, right? Extensions anyway, because they can be quite heavy. So maybe for Briana with her hair texture, I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe she's not going to be able to keep it in for as long as somebody like myself can. But it's still fun at the end of the day to be able to, kind of experiment a little bit with your hair. We all do it at the end of the day, right? Like, sometimes you'll see me with straight hair. Sometimes Sometimes you'll see me with curly hair. You'll see me with a bob. You'll see me with braids. You'll see me with whatever, right? So why would I deprive anybody of that? But her son says, I hope the braids are genuinely an active support for Nova and not just a Kardashian-esque move to jump on a train and abandon it later. Speaking of the Kardashians, do you remember when they did the whole Bo Derek braid thing, when Kim got cornrows, and then when Chloe got the thing, they're calling it boxer? That's the thing I get people disliking, though. Like that type of stuff is annoying. Just call it what it is, okay? It's cornrows, it's braids, it's whatever. Let's not rename this stuff. Becky says, in America, people get mad about non-Black people getting braids. I don't understand. Many cultures have had braids. Stop dividing everyone. And she also says, except when Kail got them. Remember when Kail got the dreads? Oh my God. The way the fandom got on her, and she had that stuff taken out within 24 hours or less. That was actually kind of hilarious. And, here's the thing, and again, not to play like both sides, but again, I do see both sides, although I do encourage for more people to be able to wear different hairstyles. But, when it comes to people like Kail, who are straight up racists, right? So why was Kail so dragged for wearing dreads, right? You've seen other white people in dreads before, but why was Kail? Because this was around this time where Kail's tweets were like really, really, really bad. Like she was posting all sorts of like hardcore racist stuff. She was getting dragged about it to the point where she had to delete her Twitter account. Then she had the nerve to show up in dreads, right? Like that was insane. And then she was fantasizing about having kids with Chris or something. And so she was putting all these weird brown baby emojis. Like it was just such a weird time. So like that in particular was insane. It almost feels like a little bit of a fever dream. Tia says, I never got bullied for wearing braids. I guess it's where you're from. And I think so too. Personally, I haven't experienced it either, but I do think that people who are very defensive or gatekeepy about it, I think that that's typically how they experience wearing braids growing up. Or maybe even in the corporate world. Sometimes you're treated as if it's not that professional or something like that. Like, honestly, like, oh, the hatred towards Black hair, like, laisse tomber, is very, very annoying. Miss T says, it's not just the bullying, it's the historical behaviors that credit it's taken from Black people and given to the ones who appropriate it, like rock and roll. Exactly. And I think that that's, goes to my point about the Kardashians when they went and get like cornrows and then they say, these are Bo Derek braids. No, they're not. Shut up. Those are cornrows, right? Like when people do stuff like that, it's annoying. Rosen says, and other people adopting culturally Black trends doesn't normalize it in the mainstream. They'll call it by another name. Oh no. And still bully Black girls for wearing the same style. Honestly, that's heartbreaking because I really thought that, this is kind of a step towards more acceptance for us. Kayla says, late to the morning report today, better late than never, boo. Although I agree that Glorilla should not have been arrested. An ounce is about enough to fill a Ziploc bag. An ounce is 28 grams, so it's a decent amount. That's crazy. Glorilla, but again, we don't even know whose it was. Glorilla hasn't been home. She's been touring. She was performing. She wasn't even there when they saw that, right? So I really hope that she's able to fight and get it, taken out. Kev says, LMFAO, Kail looked ridiculous. She really did. Honestly, she could have gone for like a nice caramel color or something. Like, didn't she go for like straight up white with her dreads or something like that? That girl was a mess. Do you guys remember her racist tweets? Like, they were bad. She was calling people like nappy and stuff. Like, she was like favoriting things that like very anti-Black things. Like, she was so racist. So the fact that she went and got knocked up by like 2 Black men or something like that, insane. I don't even know how to describe like the level of insanity that it takes to do that. Like with that kind of like open Twitter history and whatnot, like that woman is sick. Ugh.